What's up? All right. So what we're doing today is we're going meal prep. All right. We're going to do some meal prepping. So if you didn't show up to yesterday's live, I was talking about how to make fast meal prep hacks, right? And I was just basically talking about it. Now I'm going to actually show you how I actually do it, right? So when it comes down to everything, what we're going to do is just make some sweet potatoes. I got some black beans on prep right now, right? But I'm just going to go ahead and show you like what I do, because when it comes to meal prepping, a lot of people there's two ways you could do it. One way is you can meal prep, like on a Sunday. That's like usually the day that everyone pretty much meal preps, and then make like 3 days in advance or a whole week in advance of cooking, which people will spend literally like hour, 2 hours in the kitchen making all this food for a week, right? So that's one way of doing it. Do I suggest that way? I never suggest none of my students to do it that way, right? Because I know when it's the weekend, a lot of people don't want to make cooking and health and fitness like a job. So they want to go out, they want to enjoy themselves, things like that. The only time I recommend it if your lifestyle is so busy, it's so busy that it's just like, like you have to do it, right? And if that is the option and someone doesn't want to meal prep, then you could always purchase, which that is an option that I do suggest some of my students to do. It's the easiest option, but when it comes to purchasing, and I could show y'all what I recommend my students to get, is going to be built meals. Okay, so I have a discount code for this, but I don't have nothing for my bot to push it out yet because we haven't made any true like videos yet with this, but we will soon, and I will set up the code and everything. If you want the code, just personally DM me. Just say, hey, I watched your live and you talked about the code for built meals. I want to have a delivery meal prep service sent to me. That is one way of doing it. Okay. And the thing about built meals is that they actually make the meals macro friendly. So they'll customize the actual meal prep container to your goals. So if you want 1,200 calories, they're going to give it to you 1,200 calories. You want 1,500 calories, they're going to give it to you 15. 2,000 calories, you're going to give it 2,000. Everything is macro friendly. If you want each meal to have like only about like 50 grams of protein per meal, it's going to have that. 100 grams per meal, it's going to have that. It's customized. Okay. So that is one meal prep delivery service that I do recommend my students to get. Okay. And they do deliver to you, to your home, to your job. That's for people who are very busy. They don't want to cook. They want to pay for it, right? So that is one suggestion. Now, the second suggestion is each day, right? You can meal prep each day, right? And now this is something that I do personally, but what I always talk about is like batch cooking, right? So when I say batching, I mean when it comes to meal preps, you want to like batch cook certain foods that you can actually store in the fridge. So right now we have a whole bag. I'm going to go ahead and show you this. I have a whole bag of black beans soaking in water. Okay. And I'm going to leave that overnight, and then I'm going to cook that tomorrow. And I could go on live and show y'all how I do that. I haven't decided if I wanted to pressure cook it or just boil it, right? But it is getting prepped. So I have that soaking overnight. So, and I'm just going to cook the whole thing. That's a batch cook. Or when I do rice, right? For example, when I do rice, I do something like this. I'll just make like a whole container just with rice. Or I already have some beans. It's almost out, but I just finished like putting the dent in these chickpeas, right? It's only like a little, it's not even for a whole day in here. So it's like a half of a day serving. So that's why I went ahead and make the black beans. But you get my drift, right? This whole container was filled with chickpeas. And then what I'll do is when it's time to meal prep each day, since those foods are already ready, only thing I have to do is just open up my meal prep container. Or since technically I work at home, so I can just put my plate out and just measure out my meal and put it in the microwave, warm it up. It's good to go. So it's pretty much the same. Even if I was going out and I had a meal prep, I'll just grab a meal prep container, take all my foods, put it into the container. I could keep it cold, warm it up at the next location I'm going to be at, or if there's a microwave somewhere, I can warm it up somewhere else, or I can warm it up first and take it with me. Does that make sense? Right? So that's certain things that I usually do, and I tell my students to do the same. Okay. So even when and then certain foods that they can't cook, like it's not, because I like my foods being fresh, right? So those type of foods always stay fresh, especially if you keep it in a container and you batch it like that. But certain foods that doesn't taste too fresh when you prep is like tofu scramble, right? So those particular type of foods, what I do is I might buy it in prep. So for example, like spinach, I'm not going to like buy like spinach like on the stem, right? I want to buy it raw, like in a big container. Or if it's like onions or something, I don't have any now, but usually what I do is if I chop up onions, bell peppers, I'll put it in the container like this. So you should see there's already chopped up tofu. See what I mean? But I'll chop up like onions and a whole bell pepper and put them in meal prep containers like that. So then when it's time to cook, only thing I have to do is just take the measurement, throw it in a stir fry, and then go ahead and cook it. Okay. And that speeds up the meal prep by a lot because there's really no preparation. You just have to throw it in the pan and cook it for 5-10 minutes. Or when it comes to like rice, beans, sweet potatoes, which we're going to cook today, same thing. Like you just have to warm it up, measure it, put it in your plate, put it in your meal prep container, warm it up. It's good to go because it's already prepped. So it's not like your typical meal prep where you see influencers doing online and it looks all pretty and stuff like that. A lot of people don't really do that in real life, and especially things that's very complex, like complex meals. A lot of people don't do that. So I don't try to represent things that I don't do myself, and I don't show people things just for aesthetics and get for clicks and likes. I always make meals that's going to be more relatable to someone's lifestyle. And this is why a lot of my students like come to me, because when they go to those influencers and those chefs that are trying to get meal plans and stuff like that, they realize that these meal plans take forever. And they're like, dude, I'm like in the kitchen like for 4 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours making these meals. This is ridiculous. And no one wants to do that. Okay. People are very busy. Only people that does that are people who has a lot of time on their hands. Okay. Mostly like housewives or people who work from home, and they don't have a lot of, they have a lot of time, if that makes sense. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and before we cook the sweet potatoes, let's answer some questions. The Real says, I will never be vegan. You don't have to be vegan, man. No one ever really even asks you, man. But what you can do, and what I represent, is not trying to make people to go vegan. I never try to force people to go vegan. I always just try to show people that the truth behind a plant-based diet. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you if you want to go vegan or not. But like what I really try to do is just really show people like if you can even incorporate more plant-based foods into your diet, and that it's going to be healthier overall. So like you don't have to go vegan. How to be vegan efficiently. Um, Best way to be vegan efficiently is really, or why I like to say just a plant-based diet efficiently, is you want to make sure you know how to get all your vitamins and minerals into your diet. So I would say download an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer, and then learn about plant-based foods. That's literally the best way you can do that. Um, the real says, why do vegans take so much supplements? Um, a lot of vegans, it's not just vegans. And I don't even like using labels like vegans and carnivores, pescatarians. People in general use supplements. It's not vegans that just use supplementations. Vegans, omnivores, people on a carnivore diet, everybody use supplements. So it's not just vegans. It's a very vague question, and it's like you're pointing at a community of people like, yeah, these people have to take a lot of supplements. It's not the case. Like, I can speak for myself. Like, I take a lot of supplements because I'm an athlete. It has nothing to do with veganism. It's just because I'm an athlete, and I like to optimize my performance. Just like, and I was taking supplements even when I was eating meat. And what you have to kind of think about is certain food groups that's out there, like, let's say, like meat, for example. Like, people claim that meat has B12, which it does, but meat doesn't naturally have B12. Does that make sense? The reason it has B12 is because the animal was supplemented with B12, right? So that, because B12 is a bacteria that comes from the soil. And when it comes to most like factory farms and conventional farming, like, the soil is not good enough to produce a lot of B12. So this is why a lot of things are fortified. So if you kind of think about it, versus like think about like the whole vegan thing, think about like this. Think about foods that you don't even think that's vegan, right? So let's say cereal. Why do you think cereal is fortified? Why do you think milk, regular dairy milk, is fortified, right? There's a lot of foods that's fortified with supplementation, and you probably never looked at it because you're so like conscious on a community of people for whatever reason. I don't know. If a vegan pissed in your Cheerios or whatever, but the reality is that, you know what I'm saying? So it's not about like vegans take a lot of supplements. People take a lot of supplements in general. And the best thing to think about it is like how can I use supplementations to optimize my performance and my health? That's it. It's really that simple. So I never really like think like supplements is a bad thing. I think it's a pretty good thing to optimize human health. Um, let's see what else. Artificial supplements are toxic and not needed. Superfoods is natural. Um, Supplements are needed. It's not about natural and unnatural and superfoods. Like, I don't like, I'm not this type of person that really like to represent things online, trying to pretend that things are natural and you can get every single ingredient, every single vitamin and mineral efficiently through foods. The reality is this. How I look at it is that we live in a modern time world. We're not living in a world where, we're forging our own foods. We live indoors. We have technology. A lot of people work inside. We have fast food. We have processed foods also available. So the thing is that it's not about just trying to be like this super extreme of trying to be supernatural. It's really more about like, how can we use human technology and optimize my health, right? Because I'm a nutritionist. Like, I focus on labs, blood work, and optimization, not like supernatural. I don't go on that end of that supernatural part because it's not real. You know what I mean? I just live in modern times. So it's like saying a very bland statement saying like artificial supplements are toxic. This is a very wild claim. It's a wild claim. Not all supplements are toxic. So I would really go back and do a little bit more research on that. Okay. Um, let's see. I need to get my blood work done. I know I'm probably deficient in something. I got to get this diet down to the science. Yeah, I highly recommend getting your blood work at least once or twice a year, and that's how you're gonna know what you need and what you don't need. That's the best thing, and this is something that I do myself. This is what I do with my students. We check blood work, and then we try to optimize. Then, if we see something that's deficient or lacking, this is where supplementation can come into play. But you can also focus on the certain types of foods that you should be incorporating more into your diet to have optimal results. Okay. Let's see. All right, and I think that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the sweet potatoes. All right. So what I like to do, I have 4 of these big giant sweet potatoes here. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is go ahead and wash them. Now, I'm not the type of person that usually keep the skin on. I just peel them off. I know that the skin of the sweet potato does have nutrients in it, and that is true. But for me, when I make my sweet potatoes, I like to just take the skin off because first, it's a faster way to keep clean them, even though I do clean them and rinse them off and stuff like that. But it's the best way to just go ahead and clean them, and they cook a lot faster when you do it. And then also for texture's sake as well, you know. So I like to go ahead and just rinse them off first. And then I use this vegetable wash right here and just spray it to get any type of dirt, residue, any type of crap that's on here. Okay. And then while I'm washing my sweet potatoes, what I like to do is go ahead and preheat the oven at 425 degrees. Okay. And you want to preheat your oven because you don't want to put anything in the oven and then cook it because it's not going to cook your food completely right if you do that. You want to put your food into the oven at full heat. So I usually do 425. Now, sweet potatoes is a really good source of potassium. Okay. So potassium is going to really help with like cramping, and then also help you perform a lot better. Also, it's a great food if you're dieting. So if you're someone who likes to, let's say you're trying to lose body fat, I always say sweet potato is one of the top foods to have in your diet for losing weight, just because it has a lot of fiber. Okay. And sweet potatoes is also a good source of beta carotene. So beta carotene is pretty much anything that's orange. So it's going to it's going to help with skin production. It's going to be good for your eyes. All right. So anything that's orange has beta carotene in it. So that's why sweet potato is so healthy and good. But going back into weight loss, because of the fiber, it keeps you satiated longer. It's one of those foods, like if you're always starving on a diet, always say like just use sweet potatoes. Now, if you don't know what I've been doing lately, I'm not really dieting. Okay, like I'm actually raising my calories higher. So right now, I just raised them yesterday, and today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, so I raised them yesterday. So I went from 1,700 calories. Now I'm up to about like 2,000 or 2,100 calories per day. And those are my low days, because if you've been following me for a long time, you already know that I like to carb cycle. And carb cycling is where you have certain days where you're eating low calories, and certain days you're eating high calories. And the reason I like doing that is because it's one of the ways I'm able to stay ripped all year round, because I'm not consistently in a surplus. And when I'm in the surplus, it's usually on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So I have 3 days where I'm mostly in a surplus, where I'm eating about 3,500 calories. But soon, I think that might be raised pretty soon. But we'll see how my new calories are. And the reason I had to raise them is because I started the sport of cycling. And with the sport of cycling, I've been burning about 2,000 calories a day. Okay. It's a lot because I burn about 1,400 or 14 to 1,700 in an hour and a half to 2 hours of riding. And then once I'm done riding, sometimes I hit the gym right after and then lift some weights. Because if you didn't know, I quit bodybuilding. So now I still want my muscles, so I still have to lift weights and stuff like that. But the cool thing is that I don't have to go so aggressive. All right. So that's one of the cool things about it, because right now I'm just trying to maintain. And if I'm trying to build muscle, I'm just trying to really just build up my legs. Like that's what I want. I want more muscles in my legs. I feel like I have a lot of mass on my upper body. I want more mass in the lower body. So that's the only thing I'm trying to do right now. Let's see. Is there any way for you to move the camera lower so you can see? I'm not really cutting anything, but I can move it down for sure. What I'm doing is I'm just peeling. I'm peeling the sweet potatoes. So that's the only thing I'm doing. Not really cutting anything yet, but that's what I'm doing. You want to get a peeler, and then what you saw me doing before, like when I was like like struggling, there was like some black spots, like these little black spots. So I used this part to take that out. Okay, and you just take it out like that. All right. And the cool thing is that if you have like a food disposer, you could do it right there in the sink and then dispose it all right there in the drain. Okay, it won't clog up your sink. So that's why I usually do it here. Do this quick rinse. And then I just stuff everything in the sink, just like that. All right, and then we're going to turn it on. All right, that's it. All right, just like that. All right. Now, some people, what some people do is this. When it comes down to the peels, like some people would wash everything and then peel it, and then they'll take the peels and then throw it in the air fryer and then make chips. Like you could do that too, but I don't do all of that. I just peel it and throw it in the drain. Like that's what you see me do. All right. Someone asked why I quit bodybuilding. I quit bodybuilding because multiple reasons. One reason is that I wanted to eat more food. That's one of the main reasons. Like I've been doing bodybuilding for over 11 years, and with all the years of bodybuilding and just dieting, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just getting tired. And then also at the same time, when it comes down to doing the sport of bodybuilding, I got to a point where it was like, do I want to continue doing this, or do I want to like do something different? Because I was just getting tired of the sport. And another reason was also because, you know, I work from home. So I wanted to be more part of a community. I didn't want to just be like in the gym training by myself all the time, or just with like one coach and just train one-on-one. Like, I was just getting tired of it. I wanted to do something that was more performance-based, something more challenging, not just being judged specifically on my looks, but also performance. You know what I'm saying? So that's why. I mean, I just did it for a very long time. And just like with a lot of people, people change, you know, people just change over time. Like, you know, people want to do different things. People want to have, you know, have a life, man, you know, and I want to explore and do different things with my life, not just sit there and do. I mean, I did bodybuilding for 11 years. I don't want to just sit there and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, like dieting and competing and dieting and competing, like, you know, and my body was just taking a banging too. I was getting a lot of lower back issues from all the posing and stuff like that. You know, when you're dieting, you can't get all the nutrients that you need. You could get majority, but that's why you have to take like off seasons and stuff like that. And I was just getting tired of that. Like, you know, you're training so hard, and then you're dieting, you're eating almost nothing, just so you can be at like single digit body fat and stuff like that and do these shows. And then you have to like bulk up and then recover your body. And then every time you cut, especially you're going down to these sub levels, you're doing a lot of things to your hormone production. Your hormones are getting tanked. You're messing up your nervous system. You're messing up your sleep patterns. Like there's a lot of things, and I was just getting tired of it because I was feeling it. I was just feeling it every time I would diet. It was just getting harder and harder, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just tired of just like going to the gym, lifting, feeling like crap, like messing up my sleep, messing up my nervous system, seeing my hormones go up and down. Like, even though like I had pretty high hormones, you know, competing even when I was dieting, but still like you feel this stuff, man. Like, especially someone who's been doing it for a long time, for someone who's been doing it for 11 years, you feel it. And and then I was like, you know what? If I do a performance sport, I could eat more. I could still be healthy and ripped. You know what I'm saying? I could still build muscle, and I could get more nutrients, which isn't going to wreck my nervous system, wreck my hormones, not going to wreck like how I feel with the mood swings and stuff like that. Like I'm going to feel good. And even though like, as long as I've been doing it, like, you know, I was able to really keep it, like, it wasn't noticeable. Like, no one would never notice, but it's like internally you feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, internally you just feel it. So that's one of the reasons why I quit. I mean, I still help other people who wants to do it. And I think for someone who's been doing it for such a long time, I think I did pretty well. And, you know, that's why I don't bash it. I'm not bashing bodybuilding. Like, I enjoyed the sport. It was good while it lasted. I met a lot of friends, and still I'll still go to a show and watch and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like, that's why I'm not here bashing it and saying, you know, I'm not these influencers that go online and start bashing like, oh, I've got eating disorder and all this crap. Like, it never got to that bad with me. But, you know, it's just like part of the sport when you're doing it for such a long time. You know what I mean? So that's why I'll still help people with their show prep and stuff like that, because I think everything I've done in bodybuilding, and especially all the people I train, they loved how they feel and doing it. You know, I did it the best way as possible, making sure they can get most of their nutrients in as much as possible, so they can be at optimal performance versus just like, like killing them. Like there's some coaches out there just be killing people, like just they're nutrient deficient and everything. But I've done my best with that. But like, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I quit, or most of the reasons why. Let's see. Yeah, you need more cycling content. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm working on it. It's just like with this new sport. With the new sport, it's kind of hard to transition to cycling content. I mean, like because I'm learning it too. So like I don't want to put out misinformation. But what I decided to do is, and this is just like a little secret, and letting y'all know this is that what I decided to do is probably do like more storytelling type content. So it'd be like a journey versus like informative advice, because I'm kind of learning this, and I don't like to teach anything if I'm new at it, because it's like I don't want to put out any misinformation, but I'm still learning. But I could do like storytelling type content where I'm talking about my journey, talking about like the community aspect, how much I'm riding. I could talk about the specs of the bikes, just amateur stuff. You know what I mean? I could do that. And then another thing is because the camera crew, they haven't yet, they have drones, but we haven't really gotten to that area yet where they can fly the drone and follow me when I'm riding, or I don't have the camera systems yet that I could connect it to my bike, because that's why I haven't seen too much cycling. If you have, it's mostly just like pictures, like carousels. That's all, carousels and stories. That's the only thing I've been doing right now at the time. Let's see. You've been doing a lot of sandwiches and wraps, but looking for more variety. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you came here. We're making sweet potatoes. Are there any meals you recommend that you can be made without cooking? House gets so hot when meal prepping sometimes. I mean, you got smoothies, you got like some fruit bowls. Like those are some good meals that you can make without cooking. Cereal, you can always do that. Let's see. All right. So let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. All right. So let's pull out the pan. All right. So we got the pan. We sharpened the knife. So we're going to go ahead and start chopping these sweet potatoes into small pieces. Okay. Now, one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to cut yourself. Okay. So make sure you don't cut yourself when doing that. Okay. So you can see how I'm chopping the knife. All right. I think those are a little too big, but it's all right. And that's just how I cut them, just pretty quick. Let's see. I'm doing, Corinne, what do you think about Trump? I don't know. I don't talk about politics. Let's go to the next one. I'm doing the Insanity Beachbody workout again to lose the rest of my fat. I'm still new to plant-based eating. Can I eat fruits and yams to get results you want? Well, the thing is this, man. You can eat whatever you want, technically. It's not just about fruits and plants. You want to be in a calorie deficit. That's what you want to be in. That's what's going to really help you be in the depth, like help you lose the remaining amount of fat. So, because the thing with Beachbody is, yeah, we're just going to throw that away. The thing about Beachbody is that you probably lost a lot of fat because it's a very high aerobic type exercise. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a good program. I mean, I like it. But the thing is for those final touches, what you need to do is you have to really dial in the meals to be in the deficit. So fruits and veggies are some good sources because when it comes to fruits and vegetables, they are low in calories and they're very nutrient dense. So you're definitely in the right direction. But at the same time, you could be you don't want to be eating too much of a good thing, because I've seen that happen too, where people are just eating, even though they're eating fruits and veggies, they're eating too much. Okay. So a good thing to do is download the app, MyFitnessPal or Chronometer. And then from there, go ahead and take your weight, take your lean body mass actually, and then times that by 10. And then when you do that, you're going to know how many calories you should be eating and then go from there. And that should definitely help you out. All right. Let's see. And what fruits and vegetables do you recommend? It doesn't matter really. Just berries. You can do berries. You can do spinach, kale, like things like that. Yeah. All right. So we got one full pan. We're going to go ahead and make the other pan. All right. So let me get another pan out. And we'll go back to here so you can see. All right. Oh, no. Damn. All right, we're almost done. All right. Now we're done. All right, we're done chopping everything. Now we're going to go ahead and prep. Okay. So I don't with the prep for the sweet potatoes, or I guess the seasoning, I don't really do a lot. Okay. It's really simple, really. So what I do is this, and they come out fire. But all I do is this when it comes to the sweet potatoes. First, we're going to use some olive oil spray. Okay. And we're just going to spray this down. Now, some people, they like putting it in a bowl and stirring it all up. You don't have to kind of do all of that. It's That's enough oil already, because the time you put it in the pan and stuff like that, the time you like put it into like a meal prep container, it's all going to mix together. So you don't really need like too much stuff. And then what I like to use is like some. I like using the sea salt, right? I actually like using this, the real salt. This is a lot better than Himalayan salt because this has more iodine in it. But today we're just going to use this, the Himalayan, just because it is inside a grinder. Pause. And and the thing is that it comes out a little bit more evenly. Now, when I'm doing this part, I like to do it in the sink, because when you're kind of doing this, right, like the pepper and everything gets all over the place. So I'll just go on top just like that and sprinkle it. That's to prevent like your counter and everything getting all dirty and stuff like that. So you can just do it right in the sink. And then we're going to do the same thing with some black pepper. Now with the black pepper, I like to use black peppercorn. Looks like I'm a little low on this. Let's see if I have any more. Hopefully I do. Let's see. I think I'm out. Damn. Yeah, I need to get some more. Okay, so we only have a little bit of black peppercorn, so we're going to just use the remaining. I guess we don't have enough for one batch. All right, so that's the end of that. And then there you go. Let me show you how it looks. So it looks just like that. All right. That's all I do. And then we're going to do the same thing with the smaller batch. Okay. This one's just going to have salt since that's all we got, which is fine. All right. Now the oven's already preheated at 425, so I like to go ahead and put it at the bottom rack, okay? All right, so it looks just like that. Going to close it, and then we're going to put it at 35 minutes in the beginning to cook. Cut 35, 40 minutes is a good sweet spot. And then what you want to do is when it's cooking, once it hits that first 35 minutes, you take a fork and then you press it into the sweet potato. If the fork can easily go through that sweet potato without sticking, and you want to pick the biggest, because obviously as I was chopping everything, it's not like evenly chopped. Like some of them are bigger than some of the chunks are bigger than the other, right? So you want to find the biggest chunk, put the fork in. If it goes all the way through with no ease, you're good to go. The only thing, because I don't know, we're going to sit here for 35 minutes and wait for this to cook. But once it's done, I'll go ahead and place everything into this giant meal prep container. And then I'll keep it out for it to cool so all the steam can get out. And then I'll go ahead and cover it, and then I'll have it ready for tomorrow morning. All right. And then the only thing I have to do is just weigh it out, put my plate on the scale, weigh it out, and then put all my toppings, put sweet potatoes, the black beans, which I could do tomorrow, the black rice, put that, whatever protein I want. Usually when I make this meal, I just have all the carbs. I don't really have any type of protein source. I usually have all my protein throughout the day. But if you catch my drift, That's what I usually do. And then that's it. Okay. Let's see. So while we're waiting for this, we can answer some questions and stuff. Someone asked about lemon juice, pink song, add fruit. Let's see. Any thoughts about boxing? Would you ever try a combat sport? No, I wouldn't try a combat sport because like I'm 40, man. Like I'm not trying to get hurt. And the thing is what I do. I used to do martial arts back in the days when I was in the military. So when it comes to combat sports, I'm pretty much out of it because like if I do anything, it's going to be like if I do get into a combat sport, it's going to be more training, but not like one on one, like getting serious with it. I won't get serious because it's just the risk of injury is just too high, and I'm not trying to get all injured and banged up. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm pretty much done with that type of stuff. Let's see. Evenings, love your content. Hey, thanks a lot. Thank you for being such a beautiful human. Hey, no doubt. Hey, Fit V and Chef Natalie, what's up? How you doing? So let's see. All right, well, I guess that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. So when it comes to the sweet potatoes, like I said, I don't think we're going to sit here for 35 minutes waiting to cook this stuff. But like I mentioned before, that's all I do. I like to do like batch cooking, and then that's it. And then I guess what we can do tomorrow is I can show you how to do the black beans. That's going to be a lot easier. Am I a cop? I'm not a cop, you know. So it's like, so what we're going to do is when it comes to the black beans, what I'm going to do is that's going to be a lot easier because especially if you know what, I think I'll just pressure cook it because if I boil them, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take about 40 minutes to boil. But if I use a pressure cooker, then the pressure cooker only takes, I think it only takes about 8 minutes, right? So I'll use that instead, and I'll use that too because I don't think I think a lot of people are actually scared to use pressure cookers. So I'm going to show you how I use it when it comes to pressure, like pressurizing it, unpressurizing it, and then show you like the texture because when you pressure cook food, it tastes better than boiling it. I should have did the chickpeas that way. I should have just pressure cooked it, but I was a little lazy to bring out the pot. But with that said, I'll go ahead and let y'all go. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.